Beyoncé is one of the most famous pop stars in the world. When she takes the stage, millions of people applaud and admire her. However, this time was different. She voluntarily went to the city as a street artist, and no one knew her. Beyoncé wanted to join the public, not as a celebrity, but simply as an artist. Today, she took to the streets to conduct an experiment that would change her life. With a black beret, a simple outfit, and the simplest of instruments, she joined a few street performers. The other artists ignored him at first. No one knew who she was. Beyoncé started playing her music on the street corner. She aimed to exist only with her music without introducing herself. The streets were usually filled with crowds, walking at a fast pace. But at that moment, Beyoncé sat unnoticed on a corner and started playing her own melodies. She didn't want to attract everyone's attention, but at the same time, she wondered if people would just listen to her music or if they would discover that she was a celebrity. After a while, he began to attract attention. At first, some people just saw him as a street performer who would leave a few coins and pass by. But gradually, the magic of his music spread. The melodies were so catchy that people started to listen. Some started recording the song on their phones. Others watched with admiration in their eyes. Beyoncé caught the attention of a group of young people, and unexpectedly, a crowd quickly formed. People were mesmerized by her melodies. A young woman approached Beyoncé and told her how beautiful the song she was playing was. "This music, these melodies, it's amazing. Where do you learn this?" Beyoncé smiled and kept her answer simple. "I just try." But this young lady was different. Unlike the others, she looked at Beyoncé a little more intently, looking at the crowd around her. Finally, she shook her head and walked away, speeding up her pace. At that moment, a boy from the crowd approached her and said, "This song is very familiar. I think I know you from somewhere." Beyoncé recognized him immediately. No matter how hard she tried, being famous, even in music, had its challenges. Within minutes, the crowd grew even larger. No one recognized Beyoncé directly, but everyone who listened to the songs realized that she was just as talented on stage. Some people even started taking pictures with her for social media. Finally, one boy stood out from the crowd and walked up to Beyoncé. "Beyoncé?" the boy suddenly shouted, and the crowd suddenly looked at each other in surprise. The boy had recognized her. The excitement in the crowd increased, and suddenly, everyone was talking to each other. Beyoncé realized how comfortable she felt at that moment. She had been performing for so many years that it had all become routine. But now, just being recognized for her music was different from the rest of the world. People knew and loved her, but this time only as an artist. It wasn't the person they knew, it was her music. In the end, most of the crowd understood who Beyoncé was, but their experience that day was very different. People were in awe of her, just listening to her voice and her art. She was an artist who moved people with her music, not with her celebrity status. Everyone knew Beyoncé, but this time she was just a street performer. After a while, the crowd began to disperse. Beyoncé closed her eyes one last time and said goodbye with her music. When everyone came back to themselves, they didn't know exactly who the street performer was, but they all felt the emotion in those tunes. In the end, Beyoncé had learned a lesson she could never forget. People wanted to see what she had to offer, not who she was. The power of art could sometimes transcend the most famous identities. And that was one of the moments that changed Beyoncé's life. Today on the street, as an ordinary artist, she had conducted an experiment, but tomorrow, on stage, she would tell millions about it.